Hello, people. Hope you're all doing well. We are back to RCBian Chelsea Fan TV, and this is another week of preseason that we are here to cover. Not only that, a lot of transfer speculation, and I think today is a very important episode because we're having a very special panel here, and that is to possibly debate or probably be in agreement of who's going to come in Chelsea and even generally transfers, right? So, firstly, let me welcome you, Taron. Taron, how are you, buddy? Welcome back to the channel.
Yeah, thank you. Really excited. It's been a while since I've been on this really cool channel since the Euros, and I'm excited to get into this season. Great content, great live chat, everything great. So yeah, really happy to be on. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes, I think the Euro season, I'm sure you guys must have checked it out. Taron was there, I think, for about 3 episodes, and probably, yeah, we had a lot of fun discussing that, and I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun, for the season as well, right? And I believe, Taron, I have updated your links as usual in the description. So anyone who wants to check out Taron's podcast, please feel free to. I would highly recommend it. And I believe, Taron, you're starting pods starting next week, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a bit of delay with me and Arvin being a bit busy. So next week there'll be a massive update on my Twitter, and yeah, we'll go from there. But we'll keep that one a bit silent for a bit.
Perfect. That's great to hear. And let me welcome the second guest today. It is Ishan. Ishan, welcome back.
Hey Ankit, hey Taron, thank you for having me, guys, again. It's a great channel to be here and talk about Chelsea. I mean, I'm really excited for today, and let's get the stream going.
Perfect. Yes, I believe Ishan, Taron, and myself were there on a stream together, and we had loads of fun there as well. And yeah, I think there are a couple of topics very close to Ishan, I know today, that we're going to discuss about. So we'll probably get to that later in the show. But yes, for now we're good, right? And we have another Chelsea fan here. That is Shrey. Hi, Shrey. How are you?
I'm very good, mate.
Okay, and Shrey, I think it's your first time to RCBian Chelsea Fan TV. Firstly, let me introduce you to everyone who's watching. So Shrey has a channel of his own. For people who don't know, it's called Buildup, right, Shrey? And Buildup will definitely cover a lot of Chelsea content as well as cricket content as well, from what I understand. And that is why RCBian Chelsea Fan TV really works well with Shrey and his channel, right? So highly recommended. The link is below as well. So, Shrey, anything that you would like to add to that?
Yeah. The only thing to add is that right now I'm covering all the Premier League things regarding the prediction, regarding the home kit and wickets. So that's the only thing I'm covering right now, and I cover regarding the cricket as well. So that's the thing I cover on my channel.
Perfect. Sounds great. And yes, we are here, and we are having another panel member who's supposed to be joining in a few minutes. So till then, I believe we should kick on and go in first topic, guys. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's get going.
Before that, I'll just quickly big up a few people here. Thanks, Amaya, for joining. On regular watcher as well as Marina. How are you, Marina? Yes. So, guys, anyone in the chat, do keep commenting because there's a lot of discussion, that's going to happen today. And here we begin. Okay, yes. So starting off on a good note for sure. It is the Chelsea win that we have to discuss, as I think Tommy, the CFC fan, also joins us. And yes, Taron, I'll start with you. So it is a derby after all. I know it's just preseason, but we haven't discussed. It's been a couple of days, and I thought it is important for us to discuss, and start on a good note, right? So anything different that you saw in this game that is probably something to look out for in the season that really caught your eye?
Mainly the pressing, to be honest. I mean, a few of the players have said that the pressing has been worked on a lot during the last 4 weeks, and I've seen even on the second goal for Abraham, the pressing last season, it was really good, but you could see at times it was a bit disengaged. But now the pressing is really intense. all the players know where they need to be at all times, and especially some of the player performances. I realise, Hudson-Odoi for me is above a lot of the other players in the pecking order right now. The way he's playing on the right against Bournemouth, he was superb against Arsenal. You saw what he did to Pablo Mari. He's going to take a few weeks to come back from that. A few of these players have really done a lot to come back, and even the lone players, Dujon Sterling for me is a really, really solid preseason, a very versatile player. And if you check out my latest tweet, it says some of the players that have really impressed in preseason. But mostly the press and Hudson-Odoi have been the biggest revelations from the Arsenal game. And you can see Hudson-Odoi was left wing back. We haven't seen that very much under Thomas Tuchel. When Chilwell comes back, is he still going to play there? I'm not really sure. But right now, he looks so sharp on the left right now. He's breaking players' ankles. He's going past players with these. It looks really, really nice. And linking up with Timo Werner, it's a very good combination.
Absolutely, like you hit the nail on the head first, because I think on this channel as well. I don't know if Taron, you were there in that stream, but basically one of the streams that we did discuss in detail that Hudson-Odoi could be our backup left wing back option, like the attacking left wing back that we really need, someone who dribbles, and you never know, because Tuchel likes the wing backs to be attacking, from what I understand, and that's a great point. Great catch there, Taron. I'll just switch it back and stop sharing. So that was like the first start that we had. So Ishan, coming to you, as I believe we may have lost Shrey, but okay, he'll just join in a minute, hopefully. So Ishan, I know that we've probably discussed briefly in the past on this channel, as well as with you. I remember Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Now I have to put my hand up. I did not expect Ruben Loftus-Cheek to fit in so well as a number 6, right? I have seen him in the academy days, and he was great, but that's a while ago. A lot of things have happened in the last few years, and probably this is after a good while that we are seeing him number 6. Is that realistically, something that Ruben Loftus-Cheek can live up to? I know it's Arsenal, but against like a big team.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing here, Ankit, about Ruben Loftus-Cheek. It's very difficult to fit Ruben Loftus-Cheek in the formation that we're playing. Basically, we're playing in a back three, and it's quite evident that we're going to play a back three for the next season as well. It's been few preseason games, and we've played back three for most of every games, right? So basically, we're going to stick with that formation. And here's the very tricky part about Ruben Loftus-Cheek, that he's, for me, he's a number 10 kind of a guy. Or maybe he's more of a number 8 kind of a guy, but we do not play that formation. He would have been fit perfectly in that number 8 position, but unfortunately we are not playing that formation. So number 8 is not in the option. In fact, we do not have even one number 8 to fit him, right? So the thing is, we've got 2 number 10s for him to join in, or maybe he's got one of the double pivot positions to play in. Now the problem here is, if he fits in the number 10 positions, where does Christian Pulisic play? Where does Timo Werner play? Where does Kai Havertz play? Where does Mason Mount play? Where does Callum Hudson-Odoi play? Where does Hakim Ziyech play? Just count the number of players that we have to fit in those 2 positions, right? And it would be injustice for those players if Ruben Loftus-Cheek comes in and fits in that position. It would be highly injustice for those guys to sit on the bench and make way for Loftus-Cheek. So maybe Thomas Tuchel, paved the way, and then analyze the position of Loftus-Cheek, being that listen, he can play in one of the 2 6 positions, knowing the fact that Billy Gilmour is heading out for loan in Norwich City. So you actually have an extra man to fit in that position. Maybe it'll work. Maybe not in the Jorginho's position, because Jorginho plays more of a register kind of a position, where he drops back deep down in the centre back position and tries to create ball and tries to release the pressure from there. Loftus-Cheek won't be able to do that, because he's such a good attacking minded player that he likes to drive in the ball forward, and we've seen that pretty much also in the Sarri season. We've seen that Ruben Loftus-Cheek do that at his best. I think so. Thomas Tuchel is unlocking that part of his, where he could fit in that double pivot position. Yes, he's very good going forward. He's very good with his attacking mindset. I think so. The thing which he needs to work at this point of time is his defensive abilities, because double six position, or the pivot position that we say, is very, very crucial for Tuchel's system, and it's the most important position in Thomas Tuchel's system. So not just offensively, but defensively, he needs to work a lot, and eventually it might work. We should not be surprised if we see Ruben Loftus-Cheek, hop in, get some game time, substitute the likes of N'Golo Kante, get some gaming time, and really flourish in that position.
Yeah, well said. For me, definitely Ruben Loftus-Cheek, what stood out for me is the fact that he brings something different, and he was going for the driving runs that he used to do for so many years, right? Of course, that finishing product is missing, but that's something that is a confidence thing, and I think Tuchel, being a man manager, is that, right? And we have Chief Chelsea joining, as well as I believe Amaya has a comment. With Gilmore and Gallagher both out on loan and Rice and Tchouameni rumors cooling down, he would be a brilliant fourth option. Exactly my point, right? Amaya, well put there, because yes, something different, right? Because see, the fourth player in the central midfield role is not someone who will get more than 15-20 games at max. I think probably that is also optimistic in spite of the 60 games that we have, because Tuchel, as much as a tinkerman that he was last year, I really believe that this year he'll be more settled because he knows the team very well now, right? So I don't think there's a need to chop and change every game. But yes, 15 to 20 games, I think Ruben Loftus-Cheek can be fit enough, and he has a strength. So Shrey, coming to you, Shrey, welcome back. I believe obviously the big talking point is coming game against Tottenham will also tell it. But for me, Kai Havertz proved yet again that he's a great finisher. That great finish that he had, and I know Timo Werner had a great pass, but overall, like, do you see us, deploying the 3-5-2 formation with Kai Havertz, Timo Werner actually starting up against Tottenham and beyond?
For me, I can see Timo Werner and Kai Havertz again, like, continuing the way they are playing, because since Thomas Tuchel shifted to a front two with Werner, Havertz and Mount behind them, because of the German connection and overall the things that Werner brings, because Werner has this habit that he runs in the channel, and that makes the space for your Havertz, your Mount. And because of this factor, I believe that Werner and Havertz will continue playing until we sign one striker at least. I think Werner will continue to start and Havertz alongside him. But in this preseason, we have been seeing, because Mason Mount has been on the Euros, so most probably Hakim Ziyech is going to slot in that position of being in the middle.
Yeah, fair point. And I think that's a great point as well, because Hakim Ziyech, Taron, he played a very different role. Let me just share, how we kind of started the second half, because yes, we got that lead and that was great. But yes, Arsenal came back. So I'll just try and share my screen again. But as we speak, Taron, so I think Ziyech in that more central role, I would say, like, he wasn't really playing on the wing. Is that something you feel, Taron, is one of the norms that Tuchel will go with, seeing how he kind of dribbles as well if he gets the ball?
Did you mean Ziyech? Did you mean Ziyech, Ankit?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, obviously we know that Ziyech is best when he's kind of out wide and he can free roam, as we saw Ajax when he would ping the balls into the box, whip the balls back post, Promise and Neres. But I think he is adapting to this role. We did see when Tuchel came in, he wasn't really sure. When he's pressed through the middle, he would lose the ball quite a lot. I remember the Man United game when it was 0-0 with Stamford Bridge. Ziyech was pressed really high and he kept losing possession. But I feel like he has had a lot of time. He was one of the first back in pre-season, and he has had a lot of time with Tuchel to understand. They've been working on the press, and maybe they'll be working on the counter press, and that kind of how it would work when teams are pressing them. Ziyech can know now the positions he needs to take up in the front three. He's not really used to it from Ten Hag days. He was more, like I said, as a wide winger, but now he's an inverted winger in this system. So I feel like he is adapting to it. Against Arsenal especially, I thought he was decent. I mean, obviously the chances that he missed, the open goal, I mean, that was very, very, very sly. I mean, the one where he hit the post, again, but these are all in like central positions where he's getting the ball. He's not a wide. You can see he's getting into the positions now. It's just about finishing off the chances, knowing that in the Premier League, it's not really the Eredivisie. You can't take your time so much. You have to kind of do it. But I feel like he's decided to stay another season. There's been links with AC Milan that he could leave him, but he's decided to stay. So that means he's going to listen to Tuchel, what he wants of him. Tuchel obviously has won us the Champions League. He's a very tactically fluid manager. He's going to tell Ziyech, you need to come here in the front three. You need to open up the spaces, play the balls in behind to Werner, link up with Havertz, and you'll get game time. So I feel like he has adapted to the role a lot more now. And hopefully the Spurs game on Wednesday, that hopefully we'll get into in a bit later, I think he could have a big role to play out behind the back three of Nuno's Spurs. So yeah, it's going to be a big season for Ziyech. And I think he is starting to adapt more to the role, which is good to see.
Yeah, absolutely right. Just touching on the Spurs game, I think Ishan, I think you just told me before the stream that Spurs, I believe, had a couple of wins and one draw. So I know that Arsenal will probably debate with us that that should have been a draw with that ball going over the line, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, it was preseason, right? And we got a much better run out. Our probably C team, as you saw there, the starting 11 in the second half was probably C team, and Arsenal was B team, to be fair. So, and the Arsenal, after all, in front of their crowd. So, probably, Ishan, you think that we are better prepared for the Spurs game and start of the Premier League?
We're always better prepared than Spurs. I mean, they're already in a mud. You know, Harry Kane is missing. He's found nowhere. You know, he's refused to come in the training consecutively for 2 days now. So things are serious there. You know, there is a mental instability there going on in the training camp of Tottenham Hotspurs. They're absolutely in the mud. Yes, there are some few new signings that they're gonna make with the likes of Romero and maybe who's the other guy they're linked with. I'm not sure. If you guys come to know, please tell me the name. There's another guy who they're really close to signing with. Yeah, there are a couple of signings that they're gonna make. But then yes, talking about this preseason game, I think so. Yes, we are more prepared. Arsenal was a good tough game. It was a high intensified game, which I did not expect at all, because knowing the fact that it's a preseason and the boys, they kept on running the whole 90 minutes. Doesn't matter if we change the whole team for the 45 minutes. I mean, after the 45th minute, I mean, the intensity of that whole game was really exceptional. And then Tottenham Hotspurs, just like you said, Ankit, they did not have that intensified preseason. This is going to be the first match with Chelsea, where it's going to be a big competition for them as well. So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting for me to see how Tottenham strategizes themselves against us. Although it's a preseason, and we should not, just make it a stamp paper that yes, Tottenham will play like this for the whole season. No, it should not be that case. But then yes, it'll be very interesting to see how they strategize and how we strategize, especially with our front guys, the way we played, Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi in the wing backs, which was very very surprising to me. I think so. I expect same kind of formation and then team selection again for the next match. Maybe because we can say that we've got Jorginho and the other lads back, English lads back, but I don't think so. Them featuring in the next match, because they've just arrived, and it has been maybe just one training session that they have had. So it'll be highly unlikely that they'll be featuring in the next preseason. So all in all, it'll be more of lot the same team or the same formation that we're going to go with. But the thing is, it'll be interesting to see how Thomas Tuchel actually plays with the wing backs and also in the pivot role. How does Ruben Loftus-Cheek play? Ruben Loftus-Cheek has been very very good the last preseason, and he's actually very much improved from the past 3-4 games in the preseason. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how things transpire.
Absolutely right. Well put there, Ishan. So, Shrey, coming to you, like, this is how we ended the game, right? As in, again, against Spurs, I don't see most of these players actually featuring, of course, except for N'Golo Conte. But Abraham technically got the winner, but some would say he missed those chances. So, do you think, Shrey, that Abraham has actually put his value up or down in the market?
I won't say he's put his value up, but I also won't say he's put his value down, because the thing is with Tammy Abraham, we have seen this for the last 2, 3, and even for the last 5 years, that he is a goal scorer. If we play him regularly, he's going to give us 15 goals, 16 goals, 18 goals. In the championship, he's been proven. But on the other hand, we know some aspect of his game. Like, if you properly analyze it, last year he had only like around around 1, 0.4, 0.5 key passes per game, while Werner averages 1.1. Lukaku, on the other hand, averages 1.5. So his other aspect of the game, like his control of the game, bringing other strike players into the game, like he has a good understanding with Mount, but he does not bring Havertz into the game. He does not bring the midfielders into the game. And his first touch is running into the channels. That's where the problem with Tammy Abraham is, which I think most club in the world know, that he's a striker who is going to give you 15, 20 goals. He's more like a poacher. But he does not have the other aspect of the game that will make him in the elite category. But yes, he's just 22. So most probably in 3 or 4 years, we might see a much more improvement for him.
Right, absolutely right. But I'm just hoping that we could get a buyer because he won't get much games at
Hmm.
Chelsea from what I know and what I've seen Tuchel. But you never know,
Hmm.
right? As in, it's a funny game after all, right? And yeah, as in Chelsea perspective agrees that he would like to see RSC play for the club again. I agree as well. And Taron, just to finish off quickly on what happened and what would be for Spurs. So obviously we did not see one player did not feature at all. Like in spite of we just saw 22 players feature in the last game. But against Spurs, do you see Marcos Alonso playing, or he's got that farewell captaincy game that he did in the Bournemouth game? Because that was a bit surprising. But looking at the rumors coming that Marcos Alonso, we are trying to basically have a exchange of players. I don't know, but I think Marcos Alonso did not feature. I think there were a few other players also who did not feature. Taron, I think in all the three preseason games, I think Kennedy did not feature, Bakayoko did not feature, and Musonda did not feature. So, Taron, I'm assuming like we would expect these all players to go, right?
Well, it's difficult. I don't see many suitors for Kennedy, first of all. There was talk of him being included in a swap deal with Jules Kounde, but I don't really think that's very likely. I know they want a straight cash deal. In terms of Alonso, we've obviously all seen the offer that we've bid at 100 million euros plus Alonso to Inter Milan. It's been on Sky Sports. Fabrizio Romano's reported it. And, I think this might be the farewell for Alonso. I think if we do come back and bid 110 million plus Alonso, Inter Milan are going to accept it. So it's just about if Tuchel really thinks he's a legacy player, if he's going to really play him for the Spurs game. You know how Alonso is with Spurs. It's kind of like, I don't even know, like marshmallows and melted chocolate. It's a great combination. It always works. So I think he could potentially get minutes, but there was talk that he did stay at Cobham for the Arsenal game. So I wouldn't put my money on him even featuring on the bench in that game when we have other players that can impress. Baba Rahman has had a very good preseason, in my opinion, as well. Not saying he has the Chelsea career, but he has, I say, deserved of the minutes more than Alonso. So I don't think Alonso will start. I mean, if there was another wing back I could discuss very quickly, I'd actually go as far as say Davide Zappacosta. I wouldn't mind him staying at Chelsea for this half of the season, for this actual season. I mean, we don't obviously in the market for a wing back anymore, right wing back. We failed with Ashraf Hakimi. Denzel Dumfries doesn't look very likely right now. And obviously we have Reece James and Azpilicueta, but we do need someone who can deputise that role. Hudson-Odoi, for me, should be in the front three or the left wing back position. I think Zappacosta could be in there this season to play 10 to 15 games. He could have a chance of, playing in the Carabao Cup, some lower league Premier League games, the Club World Cup. So for me, I think Zappacosta could play, but Alonso is Cheerio for me. Yes, he has to go.
Yeah, I think that's basically greatly put because yes, we don't have Kounde yet, right? As in, who knows that Reece James could be used as a right centre back, and that's where a backup right wing back position is vacant. Zappacosta, like I always tell it almost in every stream in this preseason series that I'm having. Zappacosta is the poor man's Cafu, and trust me, he has it in him. But yes, he cannot defend for his life. That's the only difference, right? As in, of course, no comparing there. But yes, that kind of takes us to the next section. So I think we should go there, guys. Is that okay? Okay. Okay, a lot of transfers there. And as we welcome Fateh. Fateh, how are you, brother?
I'm fine, man, and glad to be back on your show.
Great. As in great to have you actually because yes, we had a great discussion. So just for the guys who are watching Fateh for the first time, he is an Italian fan, Italian national team as well as Inter Milan fan. So he's here for his expert advice and the stats that I'm sure that you watch every minute of every game of Inter Milan, right? And that's why you're here, and we are going to come to that. And as an outsider, we would like to know what do you think about Chelsea's squad as well, right? As in, before we kind of get to that, one thing that we kind of missed to mention, like we saw in the short video before, but welcome fans to Stamford Bridge. It's been a very long time, and I think there will be goosebumps. That's the reason why we had to speak about preseason even more this time because even though it's pre-season, fans at the bridge will be something great. I'm sure many of you watching must be going to the game. So yeah, as in from my end, give your best wishes to the team and sing out loud. That's all I can say. It's Spurs after all, right? And and let me just quickly see the comments. Okay, Chelsea perspective says nice segment. Thank you. And I think Steve Chelsea says worried about defense. Kai Havertz will face next season. Okay. You know what? Let's start with basically the defense, not the striker, because I know there's a lot to talk about the striker. But yes, starting with defense, right? I'll start with Ishan. Ishan, now again, we briefly spoke about Kounde not being coming to Chelsea because there are talks that hey, Sevilla want I think close to about 65, 70 million, whereas I think we are only ready to give about 40 million at max, right? That's what the reports say. We tried giving in Kennedy. He has played in Spain, and a lot of the fans, like I have to say, like I don't know if you guys watch La Liga, every minute of every game, but for me, Kennedy has performed well in the last year. Like he hasn't been that player what he was at Newcastle. He's probably getting close to the form he was, with us, say against Watford, if you remember, back in 2017 or 2016-17 season that it was. So yeah, Ishan. Do you see actually any of the players that Sevilla would take, and Kounde coming in would be an addition, or you would like to basically just prioritize on other signings?
Well, it's frustrating the way every deal and every negotiation becomes complicated out of nowhere. We find journalists coming up and saying, "Oh, a deal is coming, a bidding is coming, an incoming bid. We might see a transfer very soon, and it's very close, and all those stuff. Personal terms agreed, and it ends up being nowhere. The negotiation becomes complicated out of nowhere. The same thing goes with Jules Kounde. We can run a whole show talking about his abilities. He's an exceptional player, but the thing is, when it comes to transfer negotiations, it's difficult, and I did not expect that from Sevilla, that they make a standpoint and be stubborn with their price tag. The thing is, I think so the way the thing went worse was maybe the Zouma element. It's because Chelsea wanted to give Zouma. Again, the thing is, we all know that in this modern transfer market, player swaps does not work that well. There would, if you would add a player there in any negotiation, there would be one of the two parties who would be highly unsatisfied with the negotiation. That's exactly what we've seen multiple times happening. Just look at each and every example that this transfer market. Chelsea has tried to make a player swap. Haaland, they've tried to swap it with Tammy. Hudson-Odoi failed every single time. Lukaku, you've seen this Marcus Alonso thing. They're trying to swap with him and it's failing. Again, this Jules Kounde with Zouma swap deal not happening. So it does not happen. Now, that's exactly what Sevilla wants. Sevilla wants cash, right? And they do not want Zouma. If they do want, they wanted a separate deal. Or maybe the cash that they demanded, they want that plus Zouma. So it's a highly complicated situation here. I'm not sure how this is going to transpire, and maybe Chelsea might back out. Now, the thing here is, I would actually prefer Chelsea to first look at their own house and let Rudiger Christensen sign a contract first, because these two guys have been absolutely pivotal for Chelsea, and Rudiger's performance graph is going up like this. It's exponentially increasing, and just after Thomas Tuchel came, he's been exceptional, and same goes with Christensen. Knowing the fact that Thiago Silva is here with us for 1 year, we've still got a safe space to play and wait for one season, and maybe then go on to proceed and sign Jules Kounde for the next season. But the thing that is important at this point of time is make Rudiger and Christensen sign a new contract. We'll have Thiago Silva with us. Maybe Zouma does not leave. If no new incoming defender comes in, then maybe Zouma is staying, right? Knowing the fact that Gohei is gone, there are no incoming other defenders. Mbuamba might still be playing in the academies. I think so. It'll be very, very important for Chelsea to at least have the pen down for Rudiger and Christensen, which is not going to be easy again because Rudiger's demand is increasing. Rudiger's wages demand are increasing. So that'll be an interesting element as well. But then for me, it would be easier to please Rudiger and keep him in Chelsea for the next season rather than go to Jules Kounde, have a swap saga and all those stuffs and make it more complicated. So yeah.
Okay, I think we just lost Taron. We'll be back, but guys, before we continue, I would hope that everyone who's live has smashed that like button. The more likes we have, the more people are notified, and hopefully, we'll have a great conversation because the next segment is the main segment, as you all know and waiting for, right? And great points, Ishan. There, just continuing there with Shrey. So, Shrey, I think we saw in the video as well, right? As in, a couple of our youngsters have moved on, especially in the wing back position. So Ian Martson, being a Dutch supporter that I am, I feel that he has a future in Chelsea, and he's a great left back at that. Van Hanolt part two, I don't know. So he is someone that probably we will invest in the future, and that's why he's gone on loan. But Livramento, Jules Kounde for Sevilla did not play the preseason games, right? Whereas Zouma played our preseason game, although it was just a half that he played, as we saw. Uh, we could have done with Livramento staying and probably getting these preseason games and then possibly seeing, because I'm sure by the report Livramento had a lot of suitors, right? As in probably 4 or 5 suitors. So what do you think about that?
For me, in my opinion, see, overall, we have seen Livramento leave, we have seen Luis Bate leave, and even we have seen Daniel Simeo leave. So, a lot of youngsters are leaving. So, in one way, it hurts you because Tina Livramento, overall, in my regards, had a clear pathway into the first team. Like Cesar Azpilicueta, he's around 30, 31 now. So, most probably one good year out of him, 2 good year out of him, max to max. And as much as injuries will start coming in, the age factor will increase. I cannot see Cesar Azpilicueta giving us more, especially at the wing back role, cannot give us proper more than two years at max. Reece James, he's permanent at that place and could be the next big thing in the world football. So overall, his pathway was very clear. But on the other hand, you cannot criticize him because, in my regard, younger player wants to play more. He believes he can be the starter at some other club. But on the other hand, I cannot blame the club as well. On one hand, they're not wanting to extend their contract. On the other hand, they want to be the starters at the club, but you already have Cesar Azpilicueta, you already have Reece James. So more like a Lamptey situation where you have a talented player on a hand, but you just cannot play him because there are already 2 players above him. Same with Mark Gohi. Now, Mark Gohi was another player that could have already succeeded Thiago Silva next season. He could have played 5 games, 7 games this season, could have played in the FA Cup games, Carabao Cup games, FIFA Club World Cup until the final. But on the other hand, he had Premier League clubs interested in him who were ready to give him the playing time he wants. And he has the talent. So, on one hand, I don't want to blame him to go away from here. But on the other hand, I cannot blame the club. And this is why I think we are linked with Kounde, because if Mark Gohi, if Livramento was staying, I don't think we'll be linked with Kounde because the club could have relied on them. But they wanted to go, and Kounde is a player that I think the club has been after for a long time. So, I can see this deal happening.
See, that's the key, right? I think you probably hit the nail on the head towards the end, because the fact that we are behind Kounde for a long while, and they have seen a lot in Livramento, right? Livramento is our future, possibly, you never know, and that's the reason that clause has been set. Like, I think there is a sell-on clause as well as a buyback clause. I think the buyback clause reportedly again is between 25 to 40 million. It can be anywhere in between, but
40 million.
that's a big number, right? So Fateh, I'll come with you. I'll come to you quickly because I'd like to see basically what happens like in Italy and basically in Inter Milan, right? As in we have a lot of loan players. We have these players sold on loan with buyback clauses and whatnot. But Fateh, do you see this system, Fateh, working for Chelsea, and you would like to have it Inter Milan, or you're happy the way you are? Like, what do you comment there?
I think with regards young players, all clubs want a buyback clause. I mean, the bigger the club is, if you've gone through the academy, you've invested in that player, so you want to have a buyback clause. And we see this all the time in Italy. But most of those players probably do not live up to the hype. So, as it is for the big club, they may have a buyback clause, but they're seldom really utilized. I mean, there's one player who'll get bought, but then there'll probably be another 15, 20 whose buyback clauses will never really get enforced. So, I mean, I think it's going on for a long time, and I don't think any club wants to sell a young player without a buyback clause. So I don't see the problem with it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. And at the end of the day, we have a big squad, right? Taron, I think we've been looking at teams in left, right, and center. And I think, Taron, there is something that we would like to discuss. So let's move to the midfield section, because one of the players that we are linked to is Tchouameni, right? So I'll just try and share my screen. Taron, 1 second. Meanwhile, I've just asked the chat what do they think about people going out on loan the way they have done. and hopefully they agree with us as well. Okay, so yeah, I hope that's clear to you.
Maybe, yeah, I think it's okay. Maybe you need to zoom in a little bit, but I think it's fine.
Let me try and zoom in.
I think it's
this is the
fine. It's
max.
fine.
Yeah. So Taron, go ahead. We would probably like to see, what makes Tchouameni different, right?
Yeah, actually, I was on a plane the other day and I had no data, so I was just like really bored. So I made this kind of diagram, and I was kind of thinking. Obviously, last season we saw Hudson-Odoi, he'd only play wing back if Alonso was there, and I feel like that was the main reason why we saw Chilwell always play with Reece James. It's because Chilwell always played with Reece James, yeah, because we can't really have two attacking fullbacks and have Kante in the middle who'd free roam everywhere. It'd leave a massive gap with one of the fullbacks would always go up. It'd leave a massive gap in the middle. So with Tchouameni coming in, we'd have two holding players like Jorginho, Tchouameni, who would kind of cover all the spaces that would be left by Shaw and Hudson-Odoi. And it would kind of change this kind of formation. It'd be a 3-2-4-1. And that would actually leave a lot of space for Mount and Havertz. If Chilwell and Hudson-Odoi are really wide, we'd have Tchouameni and Jorginho covering that space. Mount and Havertz would have so much space to work in. And if we have Mason Mount there, free roaming everywhere, Kai Havertz moving whatever he wants around the middle, Timo Werner, Lukaku, whoever's playing up front, they could have amazing service. Their link-up play could be crazy. They could interchange all the time. There'd be a lot of space for them to create chances, for them to play out wide, for them to pass to Tchouameni and Jorginho. I feel like there's a bit more defensive solidity there. Like I said with Kante before, it'd always be kind of going forward, kind of be destroying everywhere. Same with Kovacic, he'd be doing the same thing. But with Tchouameni and Jorginho, there'd be a lot more defensive solidity for the rest of the attackers to go forward. And for me, that could even allow Pulisic to come in one of the wing-back positions. If Hudson-Odoi moves over to the left, if, Pulisic go over to the right, even Ziyech could be in one of their wing-back positions. So if we do sign Tchouameni, it opens up so many doors tactically for us. We can change the system a lot more. We don't need to rely on a defensive fullback anymore. Instead, we have that defensive player in the middle to kind of cover that space. And also, if you see, there's a little bit of space in behind the back line if Rudiger and Kounde are beating them kind of left and right back position. But then that's where Christensen comes in and sweeps. So if I was kind of in a conversation with Tuchel right now, I'll be suggesting to get in a holding DM, similar to Jorginho, a bit more defensively solid, and it can make this really, really attacking 3-2-4-1 formation. And it could be really, really nice to see in the team next season.
Wow, that was brilliant. I must say, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, please smash that like. And I think Taron deserves an applause there. Definitely, Taron, great stuff there. And this is, revolutionary football. For me, that 3-2-4-1 formation is something that can work brilliantly the way Taron explained. And I think Tchouameni is a must, after seeing that even more so, right? But moving on to Ishan. So the latest is that not Tchouameni rather, I think Monaco bid for another midfielder just yesterday. I don't recall the name. If anyone does, please put in the comments. But this is a clear indication, right, Ishan, that Tchouameni is a matter of when and not if.
Yeah, the most exciting part is Chelsea absolutely works in closed doors. You'll never get to know what's actually going behind the things. Just the biggest example is look at Mark Guehi's transfer, look at Livramento's transfer. No big journalist, even gave a single warning that this signings are going to happen in a few days. It happened out of nowhere. So we are, Randy Orton FC, RKO FC. We come out of nowhere and just bang in a signing. So that's the thing. Tchouameni, we definitely are linked with a DM, right? The thing is, it was either the choice between a Declan Rice or a Tchouameni, right? So this was the only debate that we were falling in between. Declan Rice did not seem very much likely, and it was quite understandable because of the price tag that he had, and it was just the price tag which was mattering, regarding Declan Rice. But Tchouameni, I think so, it made more sense, and I've heard from sources that we've heard journalists say that it was more of a Peter Cech's follow up for Tchouameni.
Yeah.
And Peter Cech recommended Tchouameni to Chelsea FC and Marina. So that's how it goes. And if Peter Cech is recommending somebody, then I mean that player has to be good. And Tchouameni, comparing Tchouameni's and Declan Rice's price tag, definitely Chelsea would prefer Tchouameni, right? And even Chelsea know that spending more than 50-60 million pounds for a DM does not make sense at all. They also know the fact that Declan Rice would cost a low for the next upcoming season. It might be a case, it just might be a case that, we do not end up signing either of Declan Rice or Tchouameni at this
Yeah.
season. We wait for this season. Maybe a Ruben Loftus-Cheek comes up and as a fourth option, right? And switches up between all the three. I mean the three other options that we have with the likes of Kovacic, Jorginho, and Kante. And then we just go through the whole season, and maybe the next season we try to sign Declan Rice, knowing the fact that his price tag would eventually decrease for the next season. So that is a huge possibility. But then yes, if you'd say that, Tchouameni is a Chelsea target, number one target, I don't think so. It is Declan Rice, Chelsea's number one target as a DM. But then if Chelsea are very much eager and desperate to sign a DM at this point of time without wasting any time, it has to be Tchouameni and not Declan Rice, because Declan Rice, again, the complications come up. Many complications come up, and those complications does not come up with Tchouameni. It's a clear transfer, and I think so it might happen. The thing is, we're not hearing much news about Tchouameni now, is because our preference is more for a striker now. We were concentrated and focused more to sign a striker, and I think so that's the only position that we would want to sign, right? If any Chelsea fan would say that we would want a striker over any other signing, right? So maybe that's why we're focused on a striker now, and maybe later we go for a Tchouameni. Although these every position and every signing happens simultaneously. It's not one after one thing. It's a simultaneous thing. But the thing is, Chelsea walk in closed doors, and you can never expect what's going to happen next day. Maybe tomorrow you're going to wake up and see Tchouameni sign for Chelsea.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? So Shrey, as in quickly, I'll just come to you because see, we just saw the comments there. Fabregas is approved of Tchouameni, and we know that Petr Cech is already approved of Tchouameni, and I think Chelsea obviously has strong links with Makelele, who's been there in France for forever, right? I'm sure he would have seen a lot of Tchouameni as well, right? Being in I think he's a technical mentor for the team now, for the youngsters. So I'm sure like these three, stalwarts kind of talking about Tchouameni will probably put that undue pressure to Chelsea board. Whereas on the other hand, the Chelsea board from their work in the last year has moved on probably two steps ahead in their sought after this the process for Rice, right? As in that's something that they would like to have eventually. But I think latest report said that Rice probably will wait for another year, and he's not like Kane who will just put his toys out and he's probably going to be there for for West Ham this season. So again, like given a choice between go for Rice next season and play Loftus-Cheek as a fourth central midfielder, or get in Tchouameni for cheap, as in what's your choice, Shrey?
See, if you ask me this question like 10 days back, 15 days back, I might have said go for Tchouameni, and then we can look for signing a Haaland or a Lukaku and trying to combine that money. But right now, you are seeing that there's uncertainty with Chelsea or signing any striker right now. We have uncertainty on signing Jules Kounde, and we need to remember that we have got N'Golo Kante, who is around now nearing to 30, 31. We have got Jorginho now, who is around 29, 30. So slowly and slowly, we know that Chelsea's policy with the players above 30 is like 1 year contract, 1 year contract, 1 year contract. And Chelsea, if let's be honest, even if Kante and Jorginho are a big hand for us to win the Champions League and we all love them, but if Chelsea in 2 years' time get an offer for them, we know Marina Granovski will accept that at any time, especially for a player at 33 years of age, 34 years of age. I won't be surprised that this year we sign a Kounde and a striker, and next summer we get both of them because Chelsea have to replace them. Now we have got Billy Gilmer, but with Billy Gilmer, the thing is that at Norwich, this is a big test for him to see whether he can. Because at Norwich is going to get the playing time, so we will know is he ready for the Premier League? Is he ready to step up at Chelsea? And with Gallagher, I think it's too much ladders to climb. In the midfield, you already have Kante, Jorginho, you have Billy Gilmer, who is above Gallagher in the packing order, and Chelsea are being like with Rice and all the other midfielders in the world. So with Gallagher is too much until unless he has a very good loan spell at Crystal Palace. I cannot see Gallagher in the future at Chelsea, and he will be sold next year, in my opinion, especially with midfielders well linked with. And with Jorginho getting around 30, Kante 31, I won't be surprised if Chelsea next year try to reduce Declan Rice price for 50, 55 and get Konami as well, because AS Monaco have been linked with Babakar Kamara. He's another player that Chelsea are very interested in because he's available for 11 to 12 million, and he's a player Chelsea have always been linked with. And next year, he's also available on a free, Kamara. So that's another player Chelsea are very much after.
Yeah, I think a lot of points there, Shrey, from you. But that's when I would like to step in, right? I'll probably throw it to Fateh because he's probably the most neutral, and we are having a Chelsea bias, especially for people coming out from the academy. Like I definitely have. Like I don't know, I'm sure like you guys would agree, right? We have subconscious bias. So Fateh, like Shrey mentioned a comment, nothing against Shreya, but for me, like on this channel I've been, and on my Twitter accounts and all my accounts, I've been kind of shouting out loud that hey, I know that there is a policy in place that Chelsea Football Club has of not kind of signing players beyond 30 much or giving them longer contracts, but like for me, like I've only seen football for say 2.5 decades, like that's all, right? For me, 30 is somewhere where a person is at its prime. A footballer is at his prime. If we keep signing players and keep playing them when they are not really there yet, and they have great potential to be world beaters, by the time they become world beaters, they just move to Real Madrid, Barcelona. What happened to Hazard? Like I know he served us for many years, but he could have stayed here and kind of become a bigger legend. So Fateh, like in Italy, I know that a lot of youngsters are there, but at the same time, players who are playing at 35 at the very top. Like Fateh, what do you have to say there?
So, it's very interesting when you mention that players beyond 30 are not given big contracts by Chelsea. The first club that I remember doing this was VfB Stuttgart. So, between 2000 and 2010, any player who reached the age of 29 years, they would only extend him by 1 year. They would only give him a 1 year contract. And Stuttgart won the league somewhere around 2007, 2008, and they got relegated very soon because that didn't work. And with the way modern football is, modern sports science is, you've seen players who are very fit even when they're 37, 38. Like look at Paolo Maldini, he was so fit. Javier Zanetti at Inter was so fit. Look at Cristiano Ronaldo right now. So I don't think it makes a lot of sense in this modern world, in the year 2021, to say that a player who's 30 is old. When I grew up watching football in the late 90s, early O's, you generally said if a striker is nearing 30, you don't want to give him a big contract because the legs would be going away. But look at Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, you saw him at the Euros. I think he was the top goal scorer. Similarly, Messi. It doesn't seem as if he's aging. So I think that's a notion of the past, and it didn't work for Stuttgart, who were probably the first club who wanted to do this. And I don't think it's going to work for other clubs too. I mean, you can. If there is talent, you should go for that player, and experience counts. And we all love youth players, but again, it's one of those things where for one good youth team player, you're going to have 10 players who are probably not going to make it. So, I mean, as fans, we want our youth academies to do well. But for the very top clubs like Chelsea, I mean, Champions League winners, you can't sort of say, well, I'll plan for 5 years ahead and, give youth a chance. So I don't think it's so competitive at the top that you miss so much in that one season when you want to give these young players a chance. So I just don't buy it. And in Italy, a lot of these young players, they're considered young when they're 23, 24. Like Locatelli, he failed at AC Milan.
Yeah.
He was sent out to Sassuolo, and now suddenly he's a big star. So I mean, it's I don't buy it that you should promote players beyond a certain level, especially for top clubs.
Absolutely. Like, I would like to thank you for actually, echoing that because I've been kind of shouting, big time. Like every stream, I kind of mentioned that almost in every tweet, you can see at least a mention indirectly or directly from me because Twitter world has made me feel old. Like, trust me, like, for me, like, okay, as in 30, the guy is 28, let's sell him. Like, there's no buyback. Guys, I don't know if you guys know what age was Zola signed at. Zola, trust me, people who watched Chelsea during those years, I'm in that generation. I am, although I don't look old, I'm not so old. But the fact is that Zola was basically and is still on skill level alone the best ever Chelsea player ever. There's no two ways about it. Even better than Hazard. On his day, he was a Maradona, right? And
Yeah.
yes, we cannot have 10 of those players, but having a lot of experience within youth is something which is needed. So I would want N'Golo Conte to be here for the next 4 years. I would want Jorginho to
Yeah.
be here for the next 4 years. That's what my thinking is. But again, I know that the fan base is split here. Sorry to kind of go wild on that, but yes, Taron, I'll come to you because that kind of gets us to the main topic, and that's why I think everyone is here. Most of the chat, I think, are waiting for this as well. But I think the factor that Haaland, apparently, Dortmund are not budging. That's a great investment. He's the top scorer in the Champions League, very young. People say he'll be here for 10 years, although I don't see that happening. But Lukaku, I think turned 28 a couple of months ago. People say that there's not return on investment for Lukaku. Taron, like, do you buy that?
No, I don't buy that at all, to be honest. Like I said before we started recording, I was kind of saying that yes, the car could be 100 million. A lot of people are saying that he's going to be 29 soon. He turned 28 in May. So first of all, I wanted to get that point out of the way. Lukaku, for me, if we get Lukaku in at Chelsea next season, I think it is almost guaranteed we're going to win the Premier League. Obviously, there's different things that can come there. But all we're kind of missing, if you check all the XG stats, all the kind of different stats, we're number one in chance creation, but we're like 14th in chance conversion. So for me, all we need in this team is a goal scorer, not just a goal scorer who's going to be like a Batshuayi, like Abraham, who's just going to put the ball, someone who can press really well, who can link play, who can hold the ball up to a great way. And for me, Lukaku, if you've seen his numbers at Inter last season, he was number one at Inter in chance creation, number one at key passes, number one in goals, number one in final third passes. So for me, Lukaku is the jigsaw puzzle and the missing piece in the puzzle. So if we sign him, the investment is going to be paid back within 3 years. I mean, if we win the Champions League, I'm not sure the money you get back from that. I'm guessing it's around 70, 80 million pounds. The Premier League, probably around 90 million pounds. You add them together already, and that's already like 160, 170. So if you kind of think about it from a real Albert Einstein kind of view, you've already earned back the money. But in terms of what I do for this club as well, to do all the things that we're missing right now. He'll score the goals to do everything. And yeah, I think it will be a good investment. He doesn't really rely on pace, I'd say, to away for me like a Jamie Vardy, who I think he will kind of die down in his numbers soon because he relies so heavily on getting behind the defences. But for me, Lukaku, if you play against a low block, he can still hold up the ball to an amazing way for a lot of more years. He's not going to lose that strength as long as he keeps his nutritionist. He keeps the players, the people that are keeping him in a good way. He can hold up the ball. He can keep doing everything for the next 4, 5, 6 years. And, you know, there's even big strikers. I mean, Akinfenwa, I don't know if you know about him for Wimbledon. He's obviously not been a great striker, but he's 30, 38, and he's still hench. He's still doing everything he's done before. So for me, big, strong players, they don't need to necessarily die down at the age of 30. And I think he could be a world-class investment. I don't care. People are saying that we will lose money on him. The only thing that could happen if he flops is a very low chance that, you know, he comes back to the Premier League. He was really settled at Inter. Now he's come back. He might not be as good as he was at Inter, but that's a very low chance. Okay, I think with Haaland, yes, people are saying he'll only be 50 million more. He can be a player for the next 10, 15 years. But Lukaku, instant success, guaranteed almost. He does everything we need. He's the great player, you know, one of the best 3 strikers in the world right now, behind Robert Lewandowski and Harry Kane. So for me, he will be a world-class investment. And for the club, you know, there's been some rumours right now in the last few minutes. Carve Solo called Fabrizio Romano saying we are going to bid again, and it is going to be accepted by Inter Milan. So it's going to happen now. It's not a question of if, it's going to be a question of when.
Yeah, as in, greatly put that, Aaron, as always. Like, you know, definitely Lukaku is among the top, I would say top 4 strikers. I know you mentioned top 3, but yeah, Haaland is right up there because he's proven at the very top in the Champions League, right? But Ishan, I'll come to you because let me again rephrase what the debate is really, right? As in, the debate is not about basically us shedding cash for Lukaku, because at the end of the day, let's all agree, it's not our cash. As much as we feel Chelsea Football Club is our club, it's basically my house, right? That's how I feel. And I feel that why should I pay so much for the next player? But the fact is, it's Roman and the board who's managing that. We have to trust that they are managing fine. I think the finances, they are all professionals. They are probably the top professionals in the world. And we have to trust that they would do the right things. And if money was so important, then financial fair play would have had so many clubs getting banned. Why did Man City come back? And, you know, they were banned initially, but they came back, right? The fact is, what is important? Other clubs are strengthening. We need to strengthen as well. What are our options? Probably the best striker in the world, like Taron rightly put, is Lewandowski. Is Lewandowski, you know, worth it? Will he come? Probably not, right? Because he's at 32, 33, which is still debatable about the age factor and about him moving to EPL first time at this age. But Lukaku has done that. Haaland hasn't done that. So, Ishan, I'll just come to you. Like, first of all, the main topic is Lukaku good enough to come back in the Premier League? And really, does he have such a bad touch?
I don't think so. He has a bad touch. If you'd asked me this question 5 years ago, I would have said yes, he needs improvement. But the transition that this guy made after Antonio Conte joined Inter Milan, and he, the way he gelled up and the chemistry with him and Conte, it elated his performances. His first touch, improved exceptionally well. And look at the combination play that he played with Lautaro Martinez and also Ashraf Hakimi in the last season. It was a pleasure to watch Lukaku. He's been improving. The thing is, we knew for maybe 4 years or 5 years back that Lukaku's first touch was not that great. Now even he knows that, right? His first touch is not that great. Now, why is he one of the best strikers in world football today? Because he knows his weakness and he's worked on it. He's been better on it, and the results that he's displayed in the previous season, the statistics that he displayed. He won the Scudetto with Inter Milan. He's been one of the best strikers for world football for the past few seasons now. It shows that this guy has improved. Now, if you're saying me that he's one of the world's best striker with a bad touch, you're going to be kidding me. I mean, it does not make any sense. He's been improving, and it's been very, very evident that he's improving. Now, talking from I want to concentrate this from a transfer market standpoint, right? Lukaku and Erling Haaland. Now, first of all, let me just quote a sentence by Fabrizio Romano, who was live on his Twitch. He recently said, I mean, it's confusing right from bottom to top, right? He's saying that I didn't say no chance for Romelu Lukaku to Chelsea. I said he's untouchable. I mean, what? You're contradicting your own sentence, Mr. Romano here. Now, again, he says, when I speak to Inter people, they always say he's not leaving because of the market, because of the beauty of this market, things can change. Now, the thing is, the word untouchable is a big word. It's a big word. You just cannot use untouchable just like that. When you say untouchable, it means Lukaku is completely locked. From Lukaku's perspective, from Inter Milan's perspective, and from Chelsea's perspective, he is locked. There's no way you can touch that. That's why there's a term called untouchable, right? And now you're saying that he's untouchable from people's perspective and people's point of view. Does not make any sense. And if you're saying that Chelsea would come and make another bid and maybe Inter Milan would accept that, how can you say that he's untouchable in the first place, right? So every journalist has been contradicting themselves and the other selves as well. Now, talking about from the transfer negotiation for both Haaland and Lukaku, the complications are there in both the scenes, right? In both the scenarios, there are complications, but the complications are of different types. Now, in Lukaku's standpoint, the complication is different. How? It's not the money. It's never been the money. For Chelsea FC, it's never been the money. Be it a Haaland, be it Lukaku, Roman Abramovich can afford anybody. Hell, he can afford Kylian Mbappe, to be very honest. But it does not work that way. There are complications. Complications in which sense? Lukaku is loving his life at Inter Milan, right? He loves the club. The manager loves him. He loves the new manager. The club wants him to stay. So the bonding there is very strong, right? And that's where the complications rises, right? The personal terms can be agreed. The agent fees, the clauses, there's nothing there when it comes to Lukaku. So it's just the bonding with him and Inter Milan, and maybe now the fees coming up. They're eventually rising the fees is because of the bonding and the necessity of Lukaku in Inter Milan. Now, talking about Erling Haaland, the whole thing is complicated right from beginning to the end. Talk about Mino Raiola, talk about Haaland's father, release clause, exit clause, buyout clause, I don't know what kind of clause, transfer fee. They're being so stubborn with the transfer fee, 150 million pounds right from day one. And Chelsea knowing the fact that it would be 150 million pounds and nothing less than that, not even a penny single less than that. The whole thing is complicated, right? And it is very injustice if you'd say that you'd sign a 150 million Haaland and actually move on to go and have an exit clause or a release clause when Mino Raiola can just take this guy out of Chelsea anytime he wants. It is injustice. So the complications in both cases are different, but I would say comparing the both scenarios, Lukaku has a more lenient complication than what Haaland has, and maybe that's why we are being linked with Lukaku now more than Haaland.
Yeah, I'll just come to this comment quickly, like from Steve Chelsea. Like, I know no one has any agenda, guys, so there's no agenda here. Don't get me wrong. The fact that I think the last 24 hours have been crazy on Twitter. I think anyone who's been on football Twitter for the last 24 hours, and especially a Chelsea fan, will see a split in right in between. because there's extremes here. So one school of thought says the age, there's no return on investment, etc., etc. The second school of thought says we have signed a lot of players, and these are top players. We need to sign them, irrespective of whatever it is, and they still have 5 to 6 good years, right? So, Fateh, I'll jump to you because of the fact that we are speaking so much about Lukaku, and he has been in Inter Milan last couple of years, right? You have seen the Champions League, right? I'm sure, like you've seen Haaland perform as well as Lukaku. Simply put, right? Given a choice, right? Who would you sign, Haaland or Lukaku? Don't take age into consideration. Don't take price into consideration.
So if I was to take the Champions League into consideration, I'd sign Haaland because Lukaku cost us the game against Barcelona. He had two very good chances, and that was a game that we needed him to step up. He didn't. Last year, the game against Shakhtar Donetsk, he was in an offside position when the ball was going in. So I mean, look, Lukaku is a striker who still has a few glitches in his armor. However, for Conte, the manner in which Conte played, I don't think we could have gotten a better striker. When we were trying to sign Lukaku, we balked at the price, 75 million. We thought, wow, this is way overpriced. It's a club record for us. Why should we be doing this? I was not in favor of signing Lukaku, but within those 2 years with Conte, he's delivered the Scudetto. And more importantly, he is such a leader on and off the pitch. He is so good for dressing room harmony. And when we compare him with Mauro Icardi, who was our captain and who was so bad for our dressing room, I sort of feel, wow, I mean, we've made a great deal. 75 million now looks like nothing because he's brought us the Scudetto. So when I look at it from that perspective, I say, well, Lukaku's a great signing. And similarly, if Chelsea were to sign him for, say, 110 or 120, I think he'd be a great signing because he would be very good for the dressing room. He'd be very good for the locker room. He'd be a very good leader. He'd be a very good mentor for the younger players because he's been so good with Lautaro Martinez. There was this incident where he gave Esposito a chance to take a penalty and score his first Serie A goal. Esposito was a youth academy player, and that was his first season last year. So I mean, Romelu Lukaku has so much going for him, not just on the pitch but outside the pitch. He's such a team player. I mean, in this day and age, you expect a striker to be very selfish, to not care for the other forwards, but it's just not been like that. I mean, he brings the whole team together to play, but at the same time, he was very good for Conte's system. We don't know whether he's going to fit Inzaghi's system that well, and we do not know if he's going to fit Tuchel's system that well. Conte demanded Lukaku. Conte's system totally relied on Romelu Lukaku. But with other coaches, that may not be the case. And how does Romelu Lukaku then perform when he's not the main guy? I mean, at Manchester United, he was a good player. The stats were good. It wasn't as if he was a flop or a failure, but he was not the focal point of Jose Mourinho or whoever the Man U manager was at that time. But for Antonio Conte, everything going forward worked through Romelu Lukaku. So maybe that is why those stats look so good. But at the same time, I was proven wrong. I mean, I thought 75 million, not a good signing. However, he's brought the Scudetto. Similarly, the fans at Chelsea were thinking 120 million, maybe not a good signing, but I'm very certain he will score goals and he will win trophies. And as long as you're winning trophies, 120, 150 doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think great points there, Fateh. Thanks for that because we definitely needed the Italian insight here. See, as in definitely you are someone who's seen Italy week in week out, but even for us, right? Maybe 2 months ago we all would have said Italian league is not that league. He can perform there, and not in English league. Come on, guys! Italy won the Euros, and we saw a lot of Italian players perform there, and we know how it is. And Italy are known for the defense, simply put, right? And you touched upon the formation, right? And the way I see it. Yes, Conte plays very different, setup in terms of how the players press, etc., or they don't. But in terms of the setup, formation, basic setup, I don't think it's so different how Tuchel plays.
Yeah.
But having said that, Shrey, I'll quickly come to you because now that, the fact is Haaland is not coming, right? That's what Dortmund are not budging. And that's the reason why Chelsea is going, I think there are only 10 days left for the Super Cup. Not even that, right? It's probably 9 days now. So, again, I know it's basically buying back a player we sold, I think, at 18 million all those years ago, and now we are going to basically pay 5 times more than what he probably got us. But Shrey, now given a choice, like I know that the reason why I'm going on and on about it is because a lot of folks on Twitter are actually anti-Chelsea, being Chelsea fans, and that's something that I don't like to see. Like I don't know about you guys, but for me, yes, there is basically an opinion. Everyone has a right to opine, but Shrey, what do you think? Like, is it fair for us to say that Lukaku, is not there yet? Those kind of the impression that people have, like he's not a big game player, etc., is something that we should go with and just go with a young prodigy. Is that the third option that you would go straight?
See, in my regards, this is a bit overshadowed statement that he is not good in a big game. First of all, if I can just mention the Chelsea games last year, in the bigger games, we beat Liverpool 0-1, we beat Manchester City 0-1, we got a 0-0 draw against United. We also beat Tottenham 2 times. We beat Atletico Madrid. We beat Real Madrid. We got the victory against City in the final. And in most of them, sometimes Mount chipped in, sometimes Havertz chipped in, sometimes Werner chipped in, sometimes Jorginho took a penalty. So Chelsea in the big games, we never needed a player to step up. Werner in most of the games missed chances and still we got the victories. Because the biggest quality of the Chelsea team is good defense, good structure behind the attack, so that we have 5 people at the back, so we are protected. So biggest problem for Chelsea last year is, if I can just mention, the Thomas Tuchel reign. So under Thomas Tuchel, we took 38 points from 19 games, 11 wins, 5 draws, and 3 defeats. So in the bigger games, we took 16 points out of 7 matches, which includes Leicester, which includes West Ham. Whereas against the bottom teams, we took 22 points from 12 games, which means we dropped 14 points. The Brighton 0-0 draw, the draw to Wolves, the loss to Aston Villa, where if you can remember, we should have been 2 or 3-0 up by 42nd, 43rd minute. But we were 0-0 and Bertrand Traore scored the goal. If in that situation, the chance that Mount had, the chance that Werner had, if Lukaku is there, we have straight away 1-0 up. Timo Werner straight away hits it into side netting, even if I love Timo, but you cannot rely on him finishing chances. And Tammy Abraham, the manager, does not trust him. I can guarantee one thing with Lukaku, that when we are playing Brighton, when we are playing Burnley, Chelsea are one of the best creating chances team in the whole league. If we see the XG, if we see even overall their play. And if you bring Lukaku, who can even nurture Havertz more, Mount more, he can guide the younger players in. And then we are going to play Brighton, Burnley, even at United. He used to get them the victories in these fixtures. I remember under United, when even he was not in his best shape of his life, United were playing Southampton and they were 2-1 down. It was like 80th minute of the game. Boom, Lukaku stepped up, scored a 25-yarder long ranger goal. And in the end, he scored a header and United got the 3-2 victory. Right now at Chelsea, as much as we like it or not like it, Timo Werner aerially is not good. Tammy Abraham, for a player at 6'1", 6'2", is really, really bad aerially. We struggle at headers. We have James, who is one of the best crosser in the league, and we do not have anyone to put his chances in the back of the net. And now we will have Lukaku, who literally, if we are 80th minute into game, we are struggling. We're not able to break down Burnley. You can go a second way. You can try to stop this passing moves and go cross, and he will step up. He will be the nuisance in the box that we have been missing since Diego Costa. So for me, that's a no-brainer in that regard. If you get Lukaku, even if he flops, one thing is guaranteed, he's going to give you 20, 25 goals, and that's it. Even if the bigger games is not playing, if I can just mention last one thing about Antonio Conte. Under Antonio Conte, when we won the league, we took 16 points from available 30 against the bigger sides. But we took 77 points from available 84 against the bottom sides, where Diego Costa literally won us 15 to 16 points. So who cares if Lukaku does not score against United, does not score against City? If he's going to give us 2 goals against Brighton, 1 goal against Burnley, 2 goals against Wolves. So for me, there's no brainer in big games. I'd rather have Lukaku for the shorter games in 28, 30 games, winning us, and will lift the title.
Absolutely. I think we won the Scudetto just like that. I mean, we beat the smaller teams every time, even in Conte's first season, but especially last season. I mean, there are certain oppositions that Lukaku absolutely bulldozes with his raw physicality. You don't even need a good first touch. He doesn't have a good first touch, even now, at moments. But there are certain defenders and certain smaller teams that he's just going to bully out of the game. And that's how you win the league. It might not work in the Champions League, but you've already won the Champions League. So, if the league is what you are really aiming for, I don't think there's a better striker than Lukaku in that case. Absolutely. Very good point, Shrey.
Great. Thanks for adding that, Fateh, as well. And Shrey, great points. Taron, I'll come to you. I know that we've been going on and on about this debate, but again, like the assumption is that Haaland is not available. And probably, from a business perspective, it makes sense to go for Haaland. I don't think that we'll really deny. But the fact that, we are going for Lukaku because of the fact that, there is just 10 days left for the Super Cup. Is there some way that we could get maybe a Harry Kane or anyone else, or maybe you would like to add upon that topic itself?
Well, Harry Kane, if he wasn't at Tottenham right now and it was like a Man United, he was trying to force a move out and not going up to training, I would have said definitely. But the thing about Daniel Levy is, especially when it comes to Chelsea, he is very, very, I say, picky with all he wants to do. Chelsea aren't as, I say, angry. We offered them Olivier Giroud a few times. We offered them a few other players. But Tottenham, for us, I mean, for the fans especially, they do not want to even consider selling Harry Kane to us. No way. I mean, personally, I think if we got Harry Kane next season, it's almost guaranteed for me. If he stays fit, that we're going to win the league. The amount of assists he gets, the amount of chances he finishes, everything he does in the build-up play. He is a complete centre forward. He knows the league well. He's been playing here for the last, 5, 6, 7 years. But yeah, I don't think we're going to get Harry Kane. Lewandowski, 60 million for 33-year-old. I don't think that is too practical right now. But, in terms of Lukaku, I think we'd have a great finisher for the next 6 years. 6 years even minimum, in my opinion. He'd be great. And yeah, I think it is the most likely solution. Like I said, a lot of reports coming out that, we are going to make an offer very, very soon for Lukaku. And it's going to be hard for Inter to turn down. If they can't sell Martinez, 100 million bid plus a player, they need a Marcos Alonso. They've already sold Ashley Young. It will be perfect for Inter Milan to take the offer right now. Even though they're a rich club, they're in a bit of a financial situation right now. So for them to take Lukaku, it would be a no-brainer, and it will happen. But, Lukaku, I mean, Erling Haaland as well. I do think 150 million, it was not even euros, it is pounds. Just to remind you, it is 150 million pounds, plus a 40 million agent fee to be combined between Alfie and Mino Raiola, plus his 350k wages a week. It is a crazy, crazy deal. If we just wait 1 year, I mean, we definitely won't sign him, but I think that could come into an excess of 250 million just for, for one season for Haaland. So it would be absolutely insane to think that it will be a very financially capable deal to do, even for Chelsea. But yeah, Lukaku, I think, is very likely right now. We've seen with Kounde, that was very close to happening. Now it's not happening. Erling Haaland a month ago, it was very likely it's not happening. So, there could be twists and turns. Lukaku could change his mind. But right now, it looks like, I say 80% chance that Lukaku will be playing for Chelsea next season.
Yeah, and great way to end that debate. I don't know if we reached a conclusion, but I think I'll read out this comment from Chelsea perspective. And you think parading the UCL trophy in front of the Spurs fans will make fetting Kane easier? I don't know. The fact is, I can share basically what happened, right? The reason why I thought we have to speak much about this topic, and I really waited for people to kind of get there and get the momentum in the chat that we're having. I actually saw a few tweets, not even one or two, few tweets today. There were a few people, I don't know their age, of course, behind keyboards, who knows, but there were a few people who were actually saying it would have been better if Chelsea wouldn't have won the Champions League. We could have got Haaland. Guys, come on. We are here to win trophies. Sport is about winning. We won the Champions League. Trust me. Again, I've been here for 2.5 decades. I know what it takes to win Champions League. Most of you watching also know it. So some of the panel also know it. The fact is that we are not here to just, we're not a Galacticos set of players. Like Real Madrid were a great set of Galacticos, I think, in early 2000s. What did they win? They won a lot of trophies in the last decade for reasons, right? And that is what we have to build. I think Fateh put a point about getting a lot of experience with all those youngsters that we have. We cannot have everyone who's the best prodigy in the world. We need some experienced heads there, someone who's physical enough. There has to be a combination. Of course, Haaland is the best. He has everything. He's probably young, he's strong, he fits all the bill, in terms of the Premier League, but he's not available, is what Chelsea has been told. And we have to go for plan B. Kane is not available apparently, and let's hope that looking at the Champions League trophy, Kane changes his mind, and Man City is not able to convince Spurs, and maybe Chelsea is, and Daniel Levy kind of does an about turn. Not going to happen. So yeah, I think Taron put it rightly. It is Lukaku, and a lot of discussion has happened. Thanks everyone to contribute in this chat as well as the panel. It's been a long stream, but I'm sure a lot of you have enjoyed this. I just want a positivity to come out of it, and there's no agenda again. Anyone who Chelsea signs, I would want them to do well, and we have to back our board and the club, right? Of course, I wasn't happy when we signed XYZ player, Marco Marin in the past, for example, right? As in, I can just name a lot of players there, but that doesn't mean that we are going to basically go public saying that this is going to get 100 million loss. It's not our money. But yes, thanks guys, and I started with Ishan. thank you to kind of take time. I know it's an odd hour. Same with me as well, but definitely, would like to have you again. And guys, Ishan's socials are there, like everyone else, in the description below. Do give him a follow. I believe, Ishan, you are becoming active on Twitter these days.
Yeah, I just started recently. It's not been much long that I've started using Twitter, but then yes, it's a platform where you really get the updates really quick. So yeah, Ankit, thanks for having me again. And guess what? I'm being agitated with all these, and then frustrated with these transfer rumors with our Chelsea Football Club getting linked with so many attackers, and every negotiations hoping to fall down. I'm running an agenda, and I hope you follow this, and we try to sign Sunil Chetri to Chelsea if with being our backup striker. So yeah, that's it. And thank you for having me again. And I'll be back here again.
Good one, good one. I think, if I'm not wrong, it is Sunil Chetri's birthday as well. It just completed rather, but yes, that's a great point. Yeah, Sunil Chetri is an Indian legend and probably the second most international goal scorer currently playing, right? As in, that's something. But yes, of course, he's not going to get there, but yeah, shout out to him. But yes, coming to you, Shrey, talking about Sunil Chetri. Shrey, do you think our transfer window really, determining the position in the league, or I think we should be fine and just go for the Super Cup and focus on that?
I think we should just go to Super Cup and focus on that, because on this last one, I'll say that I'd rather sign no one than have a 17-18 window again. So I think we still have a very good squad. I'm still looking forward to the trophy that always has ceased to amaze us, from Atletico Madrid 4-1 to getting beaten every time. So finally, can we lift the trophy is the question.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, again, Shrey is a YouTuber as well. I personally love his videos. A lot of different content that he gets. So I would recommend you to go to the description. Takes a second. Just press the subscribe button if you haven't, right? And we should connect. And I'm sure Shrey will come back to the stream on RCBian Chelsea Fan TV as well. Great stuff, Shrey. And Fateh, special thanks to you as well, because the Italian element is something that we were missing in the chat early on. And the moment you came in, obviously, I'm sure people in the chat will agree that, you bring a lot of insight for the fact that you've seen Lukaku week in, week out more recently than us. So any last words, Fateh, from you?
So yeah, I mean, I think this is a great opportunity for Chelsea because Inter have certain financial problems. So before this market got on, we said that every player for the right price can be sold. So I mean, 100 million may not do it, but I think 120 million, it's a no-brainer. I don't think Inter Milan will disagree. I think we've already, I think, reached out to Lukaku that it might be okay for us, and it said that Lukaku, because he loves the club and because he understands that there is a financial problem with regards to ownership, so he'll not probably put a spanner in the works. So I think this could be happening as early as Wednesday. That's tomorrow. So I mean, a lot of positive news might be, yeah.
Yeah, and one quick thing that I would like to add there that probably we missed discussing on is the fact that I think Lukaku has gone on record previously saying that he's happy, as you said, like
yeah,
really
absolutely, absolutely. He's in love with the club, but at the same time, because the club needs the money, so Lukaku might do it. Yeah.
And I think, like, if you ask me, like, if someone employs me for a couple of years, I'm not going to go on public saying that, hey, I'm not happy here. Like, I know Haaland did that in a way that he said that there are few issues, but Lukaku, the experienced guy, he wouldn't say that. So it does not mean that he does not want to come to Chelsea. And let's see, as in, hopefully there are some backup options as well. But yeah, great stuff, Fateh. Looking forward to have you again. But yes, Taron, it's been a long way, Taron, definitely. But I think it was absolutely fantastic having you again. Always great. I think I've got a lot of feedback personally saying that we would like to hear Taron and get him on the stream. And thank you for coming on. And the inputs that you have, especially the Tchouameni fitment that you showed, was something outstanding. That's something that we look forward to in the future. And I hope we look forward to your big announcement as well. And then we sync up.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's not a pleasure for me. It's a pleasure for you. Like the other way around, for you to have me on the channel. I mean, it's a massive deal. I mean, I love to come on this channel. I mean, I really dug myself a hole here, but I'll dig myself out. But honestly, I love this channel. I always like to come on. The live chat's always buzzing. Chelsea perspective, Steve, Chelsea, everyone. Let's talk ball with Alan and the guests as well. All of you guys have great input. All different, especially if I tell you to come on and talk about insights on Lukaku. It's great to talk ball with everyone, and I'm really excited to go to Stamford Bridge tomorrow to watch the Chelsea Spurs game. There'll be a big announcement very soon on or something I'll be doing for that game. And yeah, it's gonna be really great, and I'm looking forward to seeing Lukaku play tomorrow for Chelsea. But apart from that, yeah, it's been a pleasure to see you, to be on the channel, and thanks for having me on. I look forward to the next one.
Great stuff there. So, guys, everyone in the stream, thanks for joining in, and people who joined late definitely can watch back. And RCBian Chelsea Fan TV will be back as always with more news, hopefully with better news as far as the transfers are concerned. But more importantly, we'll have something good going in the preseason game against Spurs, right? And that's the big thing, right? Until then, have a good one. Peace out, everyone.